In a world where thoughts can shape reality, a man dives deep into the shadows of his mind. There, he uncovers a dormant power, telepathy. The thrill of connecting with others' thoughts intensifies, but as he embraces this gift, he drifts further from the world he once knew. His relationships fade, and the vibrant life he cherished becomes a distant memory. Unbeknownst to him, the woman he loves has also unearthed this same power. While he spirals deeper into isolation, she battles to reach him, desperate to bring him back. She knows the truth. This power, while alluring, is a double-edged sword. Can she penetrate the walls he's built and remind him of the beauty in reality? As their paths converge, the stakes rise. Will love triumph over the shadows of the mind, or will he lose himself forever? In the city of Leora, where skyscrapers shimmered with neural glass and dreams could be recorded like music, people had grown careful with their minds. Thoughts were no longer private. Since the awakening, when a handful began shaping the world through will alone, society tiptoed around the idea that too much thinking could get dangerous. Jonah Kyle was one of the early ones. At first, it was innocent. A coffee cup sliding closer without his hands. Streetlights dimming as he walked beneath them. But then came the voices, whispers of thoughts not his own, seeping into his consciousness like radio signals caught in a storm. Curiosity gave way to obsession. Jonah began to spend hours in his apartment, sinking into his mind, mapping out the labyrinth of consciousness, where thoughts floated like stars. With each connection he made, each mind he brushed, he felt less alone, yet more detached. The real world became distant. His apartment grew dusty. His job disappeared quietly, behind a resignation email he never remembered sending. Friends stopped calling. His sister left voicemails that went unheard. And then there was Alara. She had been his anchor, his gravity. A biologist, always grounded, always skeptical of the mind-wave phenomenon, until she wasn't. She discovered her ability weeks after Jonah withdrew. At first, it frightened her. A cascade of emotions, memories, and voices flooding in without warning. But unlike Jonah, she fought to stay grounded. She researched the ability, tested its boundaries, and even joined a quiet resistance group determined to prevent minds from unraveling. She still loved him. That love gave her focus, and she could feel him, buried deep in the psychic fog, like a signal beneath static. He hadn't just withdrawn. He had built a mental fortress, locking himself inside his own imagination. So she prepared. Over days, then weeks, she trained herself to navigate thought planes, worlds made of memory, feeling, and belief. She crafted mental anchors, tethering herself to reality with sensations, the warmth of coffee, the scent of lavender, the sound of Jonah's laugh, all tools to help her find him. And then she went in. Inside his mind, the world was vast and gray, a shifting landscape of ruined buildings and floating fragments of forgotten places. This wasn't madness. It was a retreat. Jonah had built a sanctuary from pain, and it had become a prison. She wandered for what felt like days. Memories whispered as she passed. The childhood street corner, the bench where they first kissed, the hospital hallway, where he'd learned his father had died. They weren't linear. They floated like islands. And then she saw him. Jonah stood beneath a tree made of glass, staring into a sky of static. "Alara?" His voice was distant, unsure. She stepped closer, her projection pulsing with determination. "You built this, Jonah. But it's not real. None of this is." He looked at her, his eyes tired. "It's better than what's out there." "No, she said gently. It's safer. There's a difference. He turned away. You don't know what it's like hearing everything. Every fear, every lie, every secret. It never stops. I do know, she said. I hear them too. But I chose to stay connected. To people. To life. You don't have to drown in it. He was silent. Around them, the landscape pulsed, shadows creeping in from the edges. You are not the only one with power, she said, but power without purpose leads nowhere. We have a choice. Use it to escape, or use it to rebuild. The shadows drew closer. His creation was rejecting her presence. The fortress was collapsing. Jonah, she shouted, come back with me, now, or this place will swallow you whole. And finally, something flickered in his eyes. Not recognition, not hope, regret. He reached for her hand. The world around them cracked like a mirror hit by stone, and everything went white. Jonah awoke in a hospital bed, tubes in his arms, the sharp scent of antiseptic in his nose. Alara sat beside him, her hand wrapped tightly around his. A single tear traced her cheek, and she smiled. You're here, he whispered. I never left, she said. Outside the window, the world still shimmered with thought. Unpredictable, beautiful, dangerous. But this time, Jonah didn't fear it, because he wasn't alone anymore. If you enjoyed this series, please like, follow, and share. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you.